Oh, hello and welcome to another episode of Project Assemble with myself, Dwayne the Captain Coffee, and Nate from Thwip Media. How you doing, my friend?
Doing very well. I'm very excited to get into this because you've been kind of teasing me behind the scenes of what you've got going on. So I'm very curious to see what you've got for your continuation here.
I tell you what, I'm well looking forward to showing you my phase thought 4 here, because I've been putting a lot of hard work into this now, and the surprises, it's just the things I've got planned. I'm really looking forward to a lot. But how you been doing? Have the past week or the other week off? All good?
Yeah, doing good. I actually started I was brought back for the job I had in the summer, so brought back for another 3 months. So I was starting that last week. It's going well so far, and just managing all that. And I'm on break this week for school, so it's been good to kind of relax a bit and not have to deal with all the schoolwork. And yeah, been doing well. What about you?
Not too bad. I had a nice week off, even though I had to go in on my day off on Wednesday. I had a nice week off. Went to go and see. If anybody's heard of Punk Rock Factory, I'll go and listen to their stuff because it's absolutely amazing. We've seen them live. Me and Eleanor did last Monday. So good. Music was absolutely fantastic. Wolves of Glendale as well. I think they're a California band. So funny in that lot. Well worth going and listen to that. But yeah, I had a proper laugh in that lot, and yeah, it was just so good in that lot. But yeah, definitely go and check out their music. So good in that lot. But right, you got an icebreaker question before you crack on?
I do, and it's like it's a bit random. I was like thinking like this is pretty interesting. So we've had a few different looks for Thanos in the MCU. Which one do you think is the best? Like the one from Guardians of the Galaxy where he's like pure purple, he's got like the almost the comic accurate look, or the one we got in Infinity War where he's more pink and he's got like the tank top on, or the one from Endgame with the full on armored look.
I don't know. With seeing it in action, you would have to say it's got to be the Endgame one, but I would be very curious to see how they originally thought him out, sort of thing, when he was like the pink, proper comic book accurate one, sort of thing. I'd like to have seen just maybe hints of that, or maybe even like a alternate, like multiverse reality of like the pink one, sort of thing, just to have a gauge of, okay, that's what it could have been, sort of thing.
You mean purple, right?
Oh yeah, purple. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to have seen that just to see what it could have been, sort of what we could have missed out on, sort of thing. Because you know what I'm like. And this phase is, I like to take inspiration from comics and stuff and have it very comic accurate. So I'm just a sucker for anything comic accurate like that, sort of thing. So
yeah, for me, I really want to see like the dark purple look, what that would have been like in Infinity War and Endgame, because um, he he looks a lot, I don't know, more intimidating in that look,
Yeah,
because in Infinity War and Endgame he's obviously intimidating, but he looks more like Josh Brolin as opposed to Thanos, because the effects were that, you know, I don't know if they were much better, but they made it look more realistic, like that was his face.
yeah,
But in like Guardians of the Galaxy and I guess the Age of Ultron post credit scene, he's got like deep purple. He's got like piercing blue, like dark eyes, the like shadow all around them. It looks like Thanos in the comics basically. And then his like a little helmet thing. He's got the big like golden shoulder pads. It looks like Thanos, but I don't know why they changed the skin tone to a more pinkish tone in
yeah.
Infinity War. It's like it still looks good, but compared to the deep purple, like more comic accurate look, I'd say it's not as good as that.
Yeah.
So
But you can't even say it's like they ain't got the technique or CGI or anything like that to make it that deep purple and stuff. So you've obviously seen it once.
yeah,
Surely you can have it for two whole movies worth that lot of having me like that. So
exactly.
what's stopping you, sort of thing? Right. Anyway, here we go. Oh,
All right, let's
I'm
get to it.
nervous as anything on this.
Yeah, so
I
this
will
time
warn
I'm sitting back and
you.
just letting you take the wheel. So anyone watching, he's got it all set up on his notes. There's no like presentation,
Yeah.
so you don't need to flip over it. But yeah, take the reins to you.
I, there's no way I'm not clever enough. I don't ain't got the manpower to do what Nate does. Have a real big presentation like that, and just notes, paper, done. And that is me to a T. If you
Classic
watched
way.
if you watched our three other phases and everything, that's what I did in them ones as well. Now, like, I let Nate take the reins with all these special effects and stuff. That's Nate's job. Me, I'm old school. Right. Anyway, here we go. So, my Phase 4. The first film in my Phase 4 is called Luke Cage, Hero for Hire.
Okay.
So, after the events of Avengers Disassemble, the Siege of Asgard, the superhuman community needed more support from the common day man. Luckily enough, though, Luke Cage has already a step ahead of the rest, setting up the Heroes for Hire. This low-level team was set up during the height of the Superhero Registration Act, as well as Dark Avengers, to get on with low-level crimes and helping out the everyday man. This team will consist of Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Misty Knight, Shang-Chi, and Jessica Jones. The villain of this first film, will be the Puppet Master.
Okay.
Unbeknownst to the team, the Puppet Master has recreated a figure of Misty Knight and has basically controlled her in trying to take down the team from within. As the team go on to different jobs and like missions, basically you could say, they start to realise that the job Misty is sending them on are getting more and more illegal and dodgy, basically. This person leading them into the wrong areas and find out it is Misty Knight, and they find out that she's been mind controlled, basically. They go off, find out where the Puppet Master has been hiding in his lair. They manage to take out the Puppet Master, and they get on basically with the Heroes for Hire group. Misty Knight apologies, and they try and form a new friendship with the local community going on with their business. The first post-credit scene, Tony Stark walks into the Hero for Hire office and wants to talk to Luke Cage. He offers him a job on the new Avengers team. The second post-credit scene, we have another meeting of the Illuminati. Mr. Fantastic, Doctor Strange, and Professor X are talking about two power surges they have out in deep space. But they can't quite figure out yet what these power surges are, and realizing that it is coming to Earth, how long it will take. It's the first film.
Very interesting. It reminds me of like in my phase 3, I started with Nova, and that was like a complete like left field choice to start it off. Like that's what you thought of mine, but yeah, it's a very interesting character to start with for this new part of it, and it's cool seeing all those characters in one team because that hasn't been done yet in the movies. So Puppet Master as the villain is definitely a choice. I was not thinking that at all. I don't even know if I really knew that villain. So yeah, that's very interesting. And having Misty Knight kind of play a double agent type thing, very cool. And based off like what from what I know of Luke Cage being on the New Avengers, there are definitely things that come with that. So I'm interested to see if you play into those kinds of things that could happen and different storylines that he's a part of on that Avengers lineup. So very curious about that and what those power surges are in deep space. I've got a few thoughts, but I'm not entirely sure.
Well, with these ones, right, you'll probably notice it with a few of the other films and stuff. I didn't want it just to be your stereotypical like big like villain you know about.
Yeah.
So there will be some other villains that you may not heard of, or it's like very surprising and stuff like that to see. So I tried to like, especially in this first couple, just to lower the tone, just have these little random villains that lot, and then it slowly builds up to like a crescendo at the end, sort of thing.
Very nice.
But yeah, seeing with I thought starting with Luke Cage as well. I left hints of different things that happened in my previous 3 phases, and this phase, just starting with this one as well, is the droplets of them coming to fruition, sort of thing.
Okay.
So, second film is Deadpool X-Force. Wade, being bored of how Professor X handles his team at the X-Mansion, wants to get into more nittier and grittier things, more fun and exciting missions. He goes off and forms his own team of X-Men called X-Force. But he goes into a few mischievous things and draws out somebody that he wasn't expecting. This team will involve Psylocke, Fatamax, Havoc, Domino, and then when they're in the real shit, Wolverine. The main villain of this will be Arcade.
Oh, okay.
While the X-Force and Deadpool are taking out small terrorist groups, they come across this other terrorist group, take all them out, kill them all. It'll be basically just a bloodbath. It's Deadpool. He's not going to handle anything. He's going to go full throttle and everything. He comes across this plan of a super secret big villain meeting. Deadpool, like kid in a candy shop, sees this and goes, "Oh, we need to get on that straight away." They go to this area and realise it's a massive trap set up by Arcade. And then the tests that Arcade is putting them through is to kill doppelgangers of themselves. But the team is split up, so you don't know whether you're killing the real one or the doppelganger. During one of these fights, Cable jumps out of nowhere, stopping Deadpool killing one of these doppelgangers, he thinks. He says, if you kill this person, it will set a ripple effect out into the future, affecting my timeline. Deadpool, not really caring or bothering that lot, almost kills this doppelganger, which is Fatamax. But lucky enough, doesn't, and kills somebody else that is the Fatamax doppelganger. With this power surge that's just appeared out of nowhere, Professor X sends Wolverine to this place to figure out what the hell's going off, why the X-Force have gone silent. While they're there, they're able to take out all the other doppelgangers, work their way up to Arcade, and before Wolverine could stop Deadpool doing what Deadpool does, Deadpool just kills him off and goes, "They are job done. Job's a good one. Off we trot." Cable, seeing Deadpool kill Arcade, is pissed and says, "Great, you've just set off another ripple effect out in my future. I need to go back, try and sort out what the hell's gone off. If it's bad though, Wade, I'm coming back for you." As the film finishes there, our post-credit scene, Wanda and Quicksilver have left Magneto and have gone to Professor X for help. Quicksilver explaining to Professor X, Wanda has been feeling rather unstable lately and feels that sooner or later she's going to lose control of her powers. She needs his help to get a handle on things. And that's our second film.
That's again another very interesting choice right there with Deadpool and X-Force. That's like I could see that being easily like Deadpool 4 if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Because like you have Wolverine, but then now they have all the other mutants they could bring in, so they could easily do that. But this Deadpool didn't bring them into high winds and skydive into it, so his team actually survived.
It's actually a team of a team sort of thing.
Yeah, so that lineup is definitely inspired by, is it Uncanny X-Force with Phantom X and Domino and did you say Archangel or no?
No.
Okay, so Archangel is the only one I think that wasn't in that. But yeah, it's really cool that you've got Arcade. Does he do like some kind of video game, kind of like trippy illusion type things?
Yeah, it's basically like a Mysterio sort of, how I envisioned it, it'd be like a Mysterio sort of trap arcade sort of thing, and they've been split up into different things, and that he's using these like manipulation to tap into something that they're either not liking or just to mess with them in some way sort of thing, and that's how he's like set it all out from sort of. He's basically like the puppet master in the engineering box, watching them all just take them all out and hoping they can intertwine them and mess them all up individually as well sort of thing.
Yeah, that's cool, because for mine, in my phase 3 I had X-Force, but they were going against Mojo, so I took like a C tier villain and you took a C tier villain, and we both kind of applied it to X-Force, so that's cool. And I'm curious to see what, like, if you lean into it, what happens to Cable's timeline, like what exactly is happening and why he needs to come back, and if there's any other things that could lead to that. But I predicted this like off camera, but I think the storyline you're leaning to makes a lot more sense to me. I'm not going to say what it is on this because I don't want to give it away if it happens to be true, but I think you're definitely leaning to it, and I'm very excited to see what you do with it.
I wanted Deadpool in there because it was like again just another like, sort of random film, but then the inklings of stuff in this will have like a ripple effect, no pun intended, but a ripple effect into other things that could happen. And I just like to get in as many characters in there because I'm a sucker for like a team film. I like to see people interacting with each other and how they would get along or disagree with stuff like that. So, but yes, and like I say off camera, as soon as you predicted some things, I was like, Jesus, boy, this kid is too bleeding good now. Like,
and that was before I'd heard what you were actually doing. I was just like, characters exactly, in the thumbnail. What can you do with the characters in the thumbnail? Okay, I got a few ideas.
Exactly. I was like, I cannot hide anything from this lad. I really can't. But yeah, so I was quite yeah, I'm
not going to say anything yet until you officially reveal it.
But anyway, my face through. I need a drink because you've really just like as soon as you knew, I was like, oh shit.
I wonder if you're going to be able to do that for mine in my phase 5 because there are definitely things that happen with connections.
Nice. Right. Anyway, now this one, how I was saying that I need to channel you basically, and to get my real story like things juicing going. This is not. Well, it's sort of based off a comic, but I've manipulated this into my own sort of style. And it's a totally different name as well. No, you probably guessed straight away. So my third film is Spider-Man: Brand New Day.
Okay.
So after revealing his identity in the events of the superhero Civil War, Peter is now living on edge, constantly getting cries of hero from passers-by or murderer from others. It feels like eventually he needs to do something before something gets out of hand and somebody pays the price. With MJ now being on the scene, she clearly shows to Peter that she likes him as him, and not just because he wears the Spider-Man mask. But villains obviously now know who he is, start to target his loved ones as well as places he works and everything. The villains in this that are constantly at him and he has to fight off are Rhino, Shocker, Mysterio, Vulture, and Stiltman.
Wow, that's a packed cast right there.
With him constantly fighting off all these villains and constantly trying to save people that he loves and keep them out of danger, he comes to the point where he needs to make people either forget he was Spider-Man or completely rewrite history and wipe things off the map. He goes to see Doctor Strange to see if there's a spell or something that he can be done to make people forget that he is Spider-Man. He does say there is a spell that can be cast, but a loved one will be taken from him, and also it will disturb a great force beyond his control. Spider-Man, and ahhing, thinking to believe the full extent of the warning Doctor Strange has given to him, says to him, "Don't worry, just perform the spell. I'm sure it can't be that bad." While Doctor Strange is performing the spell, a massive explosion goes off at his house. Spider-Man tells Doctor Strange, "Just do the spell, get it over and done with. I'll be back here to make sure it's finished, as well as nobody's got hurt where I live." He goes off, lands at his home, and all of a sudden, he sees this red demon holding Aunt May. He's screaming at her, "Let her go, let her go." But this red demon says, "The good doctor did warn you, but now your precious Aunt May has to pay the price. Just let him know. Mephisto, his regards." Before Spider-Man can see him disappearing, there's a massive explosion. The red demon and Aunt May are gone, and the spell has been completed. He turns around, all these posters that used to be on the walls outside where he lives, and now, who is Spider-Man behind the mask? It has worked. People have forgotten that he is Peter Parker. He goes back to Doctor Strange and tells him the spell's gone, but somebody I love has gone. I didn't think it would be that bad. Doctor Strange did say, "Look, I did warn you, and I don't know whether you'll be able to find a way to get her back now." Where did she go? Spider-Man says, "Some red demon bloke told me to say Mephisto sends his regards." Doctor Strange's face drops and goes, "Right, we've got more things to do here." The post-credit scene, we are back at the X Mansion with Professor X and Jean Grey, monitoring Wanda and watching all of her power levels fluctuate. When, all of a sudden, Jean Grey falls to the floor screaming and yells, "It's coming for me."
Okay. I know exactly what that is, but I'm not going to say it again, just in case people don't know. That's a very interesting Spider-Man movie. When you were listing the villains, I was like, okay, Rhino, Shocker, okay, Vulture, and then Stiltman. I was like, wait, what? I'd be very curious to see if they ever adapt him in the movies, because that's...
Oh, it'd be so funny. Like,
not D tier. There's something lower than D tier. He's on that tier. But yeah, that's very...
With that as well, I just wanted to throw, just like, you got all like your big hitters, you know, all them
Yeah.
villains that lot, but just like just throw an odd one in there. I've had Arcade, I've had Puppet Master. Let's keep the odd ones going that lot, and have Stiltman in there as well, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's a very interesting take on that storyline because I know which one you're alluding to.
Yeah,
Um,
the very bad one.
yeah. But yeah, I'm curious to see what it leads to like next for Spider-Man and maybe Doctor Strange teaming up and taking on Mephisto and what else could come with that. Um, and then yeah, your post-credit scene, I know exactly where this is going now.
But like I said, as soon as I was thinking, what sort of Spider-Man one I could do next, it has to lead on from him revealing his identity and the old phasings and stuff. So I was like, where can I go? There is that storyline. I'm like, I really don't want to do a retelling that because that storyline was being atrocious. How can I adapt it? How can I work around it, sort of thing? And I was like, well, here, this is how. And having a similar sort of think of Spider-Man No Way Home, but I wanted to like completely change them villains and then bring in that Pacific Red Demon as a main player, as other things to come. I was like, it needs to happen. How I'm visualizing this phase 4, 5, and 6, he needs to be there and that sort of thing.
Now, another
So
thing I
like,
thought you were gonna do when you were listing the villains, I thought it was gonna be like the Sinister Six is coming after his family. I was like, oh, that would be really cool if they do that. But yeah, I'm interested to see where you go from here.
it's just, I was quite proud of manipulating that story and that. But again, with another story here, it is another story I've had to properly manipulate and work around, sort of thing. And again, and it's another one. I think you'll know where I've took inspiration from, especially recently. But I think you'll know where I took inspiration from, as well as things that could happen.
Okay.
But right, film 4 is X-Men: Family Matters, with Professor X gathering as much information as he can from Wanda and power fluctuations, as well as trying to figure out what this entity could be coming to get Jean. He gathers the X-Men together to try and figure out if they have any ideas of what this could be, but also still sending the X-Men team out to do day-to-day jobs and get the mutants a more less threatening figure in the day-to-day community. The X-Men team now consists of still Cyclops, Jean Grey, Wolverine, Wanda and Quicksilver have now joined the team, as well as Colossus. We take a flash over to Magneto, with him being distraught that his daughter and son have abandoned him, and he feels betrayed of them joining one of his fiercest rivals. He thinks he has to have his own sort of family group bonding together with these other people and to find a place of their own where they can call their paradise. He gets the team together of Mystique, Sabretooth. Mystique breaks Dakin out of the raft, so Dakin is part of the team as well. Juggernaut, the Blob, and Pyro. They go off and find this island, this secluded island that's being run by a drug lord terrorist group. Magneto's group invade the island, wipe out the terrorist group, and proclaim that is their island now, that is their land, and start to put the word out of getting other mutants to this island. He proclaims it Geonosia.
Nothing ever good comes from that.
You never know. You never know. With Magneto now proclaiming himself this new land's protector and leader, this prompts the X-Men into trying to stop him and bring him down from this leadership role. The X-Men go off to Geonosia to try and stop him, but Wanda and Quicksilver are reluctant to try and hurt their father, and Wolverine is shocked again to see Daken out of prison and is slowly reluctant to do more damage to him. With all these factors going off, the X-Men are beaten back from Magneto's group. With Magneto being more and more confident, he advertises it more and more to other mutants to come to this land, saying it is a place of safe haven and protection. The X-Men now are at a crossroads as to whether leave Magneto as he is and let him protect all these mutants there, or to try again and re-establish that he can't do this. Free will is important, and that Magneto shouldn't proclaim himself a god and leader there. Unbeknownst to both the teams, a subsection of the government is being run by a person called Bolivia Trask, who has created giant mechanical beings called Sentinels to obliterate and wipe out any sort of mutant person. With him now seeing a load of these mutants all gathered in one place, he sees the perfect opportunity to send off his hit squad of Sentinels to take out them all and wipe them all in one place. As he sends them off, there are news reports flashing up of Magneto and his team fighting off these giant mechanical robots on this island. This again puts the X-Men in a predicament. Do they go and help him, or do they leave him be and hopefully Magneto can save the day? With Professor X telling them to think about the average mutant on that island, they need to go and help. So as they go there, instead of fighting against Magneto's forces, they are put in a strange place, and it is the X-Men as well as Magneto's team fighting actually together to ward off all of these Sentinel beings. During the battle, the Scarlet Witch grows more and more powerful and lets off a shocking power wave, destroying one of the bigger ultimate Sentinels. This sends a shockwave through both teams, not realizing how powerful Wanda as the Scarlet Witch is actually. With all the Sentinels now displaced and dealt with, the X-Men talk to Magneto and give him an ultimatum and warning. You can have this island for now, protect these mutants, make sure they are all okay. But if you step out of line one more time, or any other time in fact, we will be back and we will be putting this place on lockdown and stopping you once and for all. In the end, Genosha is represented and is finally recognised by the UN, as its own country. The post-credit scene, Blade comes to Professor X asking for some more supernatural help from anybody that he knows could help this team. Dealing with things out of their control and on different planes, he asks Professor X, "You got anybody?" Professor X says, "With her showing unlimited power at the moment, we need to make sure she is, monitored. But I have one person who will be able to help you with this predicament." And then steps Wanda.
That's a very cool X-Men movie with, having Magneto try to establish his own group. I'm assuming they're going to be eventually called the Brotherhood of Mutants.
Yeah. We've already had the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants back in phase 1 or 2.
Yeah.
So we've had the evil ones. But
just a new rendition of the team, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool. And then having Genosha come into it. As soon as you mentioned Sentinels, I was like, okay, there it is. Genosha's done.
Well, it's not done yet. It's all hunky-dory. It's a bit like derelict. No, not derelict, but a bit messed up now, and they have to rebuild a bit. But it's okay at the moment. It's all fine. It's nothing worried about.
I thought it was interesting that you went with the Sentinel route too, because at the end of my Astonishing X-Men, I introduced that Trask is bringing in the Sentinels, and then Magneto, needs to go see Charles and see if they can figure it out. So you actually went right into it in this one, so you beat me to it. But that's really cool. That I really want to see the X-Men and Magneto and his, I guess, team as well come together and then fight a common threat. So yeah, you beat me to that, but I'll say in Phase 5 it happens for mine. So yeah, you'll have to see next week for that. But I think having Wanda, obviously she's starting to become out of control, and she's the one to stop all the Sentinels. That really shows how powerful she is. If the Sentinels can take down any mutant, really, then adapt to them and all that. And then Blade, I was really surprised that you brought Blade into all of this, and then needing Wanda's help for something. I'm curious to see what that is. So yeah, maybe you're setting up another team as well with that.
I like to say, this team, and probably some more in Phase 5 and 6, probably a bit heavy team orientated. I just love a good team. But again, that was another story as well that had inklings and what's the word, inspiration from X-Men 97 and other things as well, and I love to bring into, and it wasn't as a full comic book series that I took and adapted from.
Yeah,
it was just little bits on there sort of thing. So I don't know how you do it, because it taxes my brain somewhat rotten just to think stories to intertwine and make what's the word, coherent and proper storytelling, that sort of thing. So
I'd say it's maybe 50-50. It comes to me easily, and then other times it's this is going to be super difficult. So I'm going through that right now, trying to wrap up Phase 6, trying to tie it all together. But yeah, you did a good job with that, with taking in little inspiration from other things and then making it an original story with all that. So yeah, you did a good job on that.
Thank you, I appreciate that. But yeah, and I like as well. It's not really happening in much in the MCU apart from now, sort of thing. But I wanted to make loads of things link up, and it just it has a knock-on effect of, well, that's just happening. This is it going to happen the next one, or is it going to happen a bit later on? It's whatever's mentioned or characters are mentioned, especially in the first 3 phases. If people have watched them, just take note, because a lot of them will be coming to fruition in these phases, sort of thing.
Okay.
Right, my 5th film, been flying through this, Christ. My 5th film is The Midnight Suns. With the looming threat of a Mephisto interfering with supernatural beings and from supernatural realms, Blade brings together a team to deal with the threat and deal with other things that go bump in the night. Very Halloween-esque as well. I thought it was quite nice.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Blade brings together a team of Doctor Strange, Brother Voodoo, the Scarlet Witch, Wong, and Moon Knight, explaining to them that a being called Mephisto is constantly manipulating supernatural beings and is manipulating things from the underworld and other places or dimensions where he has bad intentions. Brother Voodoo sends off some of his contacts to the underworld to figure out what these things could be, and they find out that he is trying to bring back Lilith using the Darkhold. Wanda does speak up and feels like she, unbeknownst to her, is one of them beings that might be being manipulated, but without her physically knowing about it. They talk about it amongst the team and says, don't worry, we have been warned by Professor X just to keep an eye on you and make sure if there's any unusual activities or sudden outbursts of power, we know what to do and what to help either control or, in last case scenarios, eliminate. As the team are getting together, they are transported down to the underworld and try to stop this ritual of Mephisto bringing Lilith into this world with the Darkhold. During this fight, though, Mephisto uses some of the Darkhold's pages to possess Blade. Blade is now switched allegiances, calling himself the Switchblade, and helping Mephisto try and finish off this ritual. In doing so, Blade, or Switchblade, kills Wong and Brother Voodoo. Now, Wanda seeing these deaths causes her anger to build, but telepathically, Mephisto, laughing in her ear, says, "Come on, Wanda. You know you're the only one that really can stop all this. Why don't you really unleash it all and show us what you really, truly can do?" With this building up in her head, again, Wanda unleashes a massive screech and an aura of power blasting away from her, stopping the process of the ritual, getting Lilith. The Darkhold has disappeared, but Blade has been killed. Mephisto disappears, but as he's disappearing, he is laughing all the way. With Doctor Strange seeing this unleashed of power and her scream, subdues her and transports her back out of there. But he's thinking to himself and talking to the others that are still left, was this Mephisto's plan all along? The post-credit scene, they are in a delivery suite where Wanda is giving birth to twins, with a mysterious figure standing next to her. Viz, look at our beautiful boys. Then all of a sudden, the twins disappear. This mysterious figure called Viz disappears. And there's this booming voice of Professor X saying, "Wanda, you must stop this. You must stop this madness completely." It disappears there.
That's a very interesting Midnight Suns movie there, because I wasn't expecting the whole thing with blade switching. Is that actually a thing in the comics with Switchblade?
Yep.
Okay. I was like, okay, that's an interesting choice for that. But it worked really well for that. It's interesting seeing like he's the one that assembled all of them, and then he's turned against them, and then the team has to go like, okay, what do we do now? Like, we have to try to save him and stop Mephisto. I thought that's really cool. So, what else? With the whole the twins, I didn't think you'd go there either, but now I think it's like getting more evident what storyline you're going with in terms of like where Wanda's power level is going. I'm curious if your final one is actually gonna be the one, but again, I won't say it until you say it. But yeah, that's a really cool one.
As well, I wanted to slowly, or like in a way, introduce characters as well that you've not really seen, and them three at the end, you've not really seen any of them three yet, and they could.
Did you not have Vision at all? Okay, I thought you had him in your Secret Invasion, but I guess not.
No, Viz is a mysterious character. Just doesn't know where he's come from. Don't know where his origins are, but
okay, very interested to see what you do with that.
But again, I that one I took a lot of inspiration from the game, because I loved the Midnight Suns game and that lot. And again, I didn't want to just like pick people out of there, like Spider-Man, Captain America.
Yeah, those don't make sense for the Midnight Suns.
Yeah, it didn't make sense now. So I was thinking more spiritual and supernatural sort of beings, and I thought the team I picked sort of fit that thing really well. And again, to make it more dramatic and like not everybody's going to carry on living that lot, killing off Brother Voodoo and Wong, they're more ripple effects and more people just to say, yeah, they're powerful, but doesn't mean they're always going to survive. So
there's a lot of stakes then.
Yeah, exactly. So right, my final film of Phase 4 and Film 6 is probably, as you can probably tell, House of M.
There it is.
Following Wanda's explosion and killing of Blade, and her power becoming more and more unstable, with her now subdued in a hospital in Genosha, Doctor Strange, Professor X, and Magneto are all talking together, saying what can they do and what needs to be done. If she carries on going like this, either Professor X or Doctor Strange would not be able to subdue her any longer, and she will become out of control. He gathers a meeting of the X-Men as well as Avengers and Magneto's team to talk about and figure out what they can do to find out what is possible to either subdue Wanda or, it needs be, put an end to it all. Jean and Charles read everybody's mind in the room, and there's some people saying subdue her, there's some people trying to take her powers away, there's some people saying put her in a catatonic state, but a lot of the thoughts are that she just needs to go. She just needs to be taken out of this world and killed. The only ones that have really fought back against this is obviously Quicksilver, her brother, Magneto, her father, and Captain America, obviously Booker. While they're still chatting, trying to decide and figure out what they want to do and what they're going to do, Quicksilver goes back to the hospital room with Wanda in and says, I want to be here for you, sister. Whatever happens, I'm always going to be here. They're talking about killing you. They're talking about subduing you. They're talking about putting you in a catatonic state. But I don't know what to do. I just want to be for you. I just want to be here for you. Unbeknownst to him, she is still awake and can still, in a way, use her powers. All of a sudden, we go back to the meeting room with the Avengers, X-Men, and Magneto's team, and people start to disappear. One by one, people vanish, disintegrating into an ash cloud. All of a sudden, there's a massive bright white light, and the next scene comes up with Spider-Man's eyes opening up. Happy as Lara, climbs out of bed, realises he's got a wedding ring on his hand. He turns around and realises he's married to Gwen Stacy. Then there's a montage of different things that have gone on in this new world. We have Cyclops married to Emma Frost. We have Booker, it is dead. He is no more, shows a gravestone of him. We have Steve Rogers, still alive, but as a World War II veteran and an old man. And then we have Wolverine waking up in bed next to Mystique, and is now the leader on the helicarrier of a team named the House of Magnus Red Guard. But he is the only one that remembers what happened before the bright flash. With him in a panicked and dazed confusion, jumps off the helicarrier and lands roughly in New York, but is not a word that he recognises or knows. He looks around and realises that it is completely run by mutants. Mutants are the dominant species. He tries to find Professor X at the X-Mansion, but he is no more. It is just a block of houses. He tries to go to Stark Tower, but is stopped by his own Red Guard team. Luckily enough, he manages to escape and disappear, only to be captured again by Luke Cage and the leader of the Human Resistance Group. In this group, it is consisted of Luke Cage, obviously, Cloak, Iron Fist, Hawkeye, Hank Pym, a now resurrected, or re-resurrected I should say, Janet, and Daredevil. While Wolverine is there, he realises that there's something in the back of his neck. He rips it out, realising it is the tracking device. That's how they could find out where he was. But because he's ripped it out of his neck, there's a massive explosion. Didn't realise there was a bomb. He inadvertently kills Janet and Daredevil. In the panic, Cloak gets the team together, what remains, and transports them to another hidden base they have, an old S.H.I.E.L.D. underground bunker. Here, Wolverine explains to them this place is not real, somebody's manipulated all this and created this world, and his theory is Magneto has finally got what he wanted and created a world where mutants rule supreme. He explains to them that all your lives are nothing, this is completely fake, and he's trying to beg with them to believe him. The human resistance group chat amongst themselves and realizes, right, the girl was correct in the first place. We have to believe him. And they bring forward a woman named Layla Miller. They explained she woke up this morning with this power to show them all the real world. And realise everything that she's been saying matches up to what Wolverine has just said. They come together to make a plan of reawakening others to show them that this world is not real. And the main ones they go and talk to and reawaken is Spider-Man, devastated that he is not married to Gwen Stacy and that she has died. Cyclops, again devastated that he is not married to Emma Frost, but is angry that he's been manipulated. Doctor Strange, Mr. Fantastic, Iron Man, She-Hulk, and obviously Jean Grey. They all talk together and think and talk about how they can try and sort this plan out and know they need to go to Genosha to confront the people they think who has made this all happen. They go, the pans over to Genosha, where the leader of Genosha and the leader of this world, Magneto, is looking over a giant statue of Professor X, who unfortunately has died years and years ago. But he goes back into his giant castle mansion, you want to call it, and they're getting ready for a banquet from other world leaders to show that they are superior and they are celebrating their victory over the normal human race. Now, two of these people coming to this banquet you probably won't be very surprised about, but another two you probably are quite a bit surprised. But there's more links for the second person. So you'll see papers and everything are lying around, seeing these guests, people that are going to come later on. You got Victor Von Doom, obviously, links to Magneto and a lot, still good friends in a way. Namor, obviously, linked to Magneto, still friends and that lot. And then you have the leader of Wakanda, Black Panther, and Aurora. They're coming to his banquet. They also show that Princess Wanda and Princess Pietro are also getting ready for this banquet, with Wanda's twins being ushered away by a nana to say, you don't want to be here, we'll get you kids to bed. The kids are roughly around 9 or 10, so they're not babies, but they're children still. It pans back to the Resistance Reawakened group. They manage to get onto the helicarrier and possess a ship and pilots, tell them to take them to Genosha. As they are flying across, they are all talking, and Spider-Man, not having a change of heart, but does say, is it really worth doing? We've all been granted this perfect place. We've all got what we really wanted. So, really, should we try and stop it? Really, should we try and bring this all to an end? Why can't we just stay here? Look, Steve is happy. We could have reawakened Steve, but he's happy being a World War II veteran. Why just don't we let it be? Wolverine pipes up, angry as anything. No, free will is always the best case. You can't just manipulate people into thinking what they want to have. It doesn't always be that way. It's not always that simple, kid. As the ship gets closer and closer to the castle, they storm out of the ship and they crash the ceremony. Cloak, Jean, and Layla go off to try and find Professor X. They think has been trapped there and thinking he's the only real one who can help them unlock this power and bring everything back to normal. As they're fighting through the house or through the castle, they get into the courtyard and see this giant statue. It is Charles. Jean, distraught, falls to the floor, crying, sobbing, talking to the others, saying, well, this is it. We're stuck here. If there's no Charles, there really is no way of us breaking free from this. Going back to the fight, Magneto has been injured and slowly flees the scene into the background. Wanda, more bothered now about her children being hurt, again flees to where they are being kept, but unbeknownst to her, Doctor Strange, and unbeknownst to both of them, Hawkeye has followed them. Doctor Strange manages to get to the room with her and the children and just wants to talk. He explains to her, look, nothing is real. Your children are not real. This world is not real. What happened? Who's made it? Did you make it with your power? Or was it your father? They come to know that, unbeknownst again to both of them, Wanda and Quicksilver, in a way, work together to create this perfect world to please their father and, inadvertently, try and please everybody they know. But Hawkeye, listening to this, is still not happy and knows if she's the one that created it, he needs to take her out. He shoots her arrow, thinking it's almost a headshot, but she moves in the last second, and it is just a wound on her shoulder. Her children, Billy and Thomas, seeing this and enraged, seeing their mother is hurt, Billy uses his powers and basically pops Hawkeye. Hawkeye is dead. They all flee back downstairs into the main room, and they bump into the reawakened group as well as Magneto. They try and talk to Magneto and say, look, this is not real. Unfortunately, your daughter and son made this world to please you, but you shouldn't really do this. You can't use your powers for this thing, basically. You can't just manipulate everybody. Magneto, furious that everything's been a lie, almost kills Quicksilver and says, you shouldn't have done this. We were going to do it the right way. You can't manipulate people and control them like this. Wanda, again, enraged with how much Magneto has almost killed her brother, stops him and almost kills Magneto, but heals her brother and then holds Magneto in front of her. And she pleads to him and says, see, we made this world for you. We have to go and ruin it like normal, like always. Well, Father, you deserve this. And the last three words you hear from the film is no more mutants. Then, in the post-credits, there's no post-credit scene. It will be just in the background, going down the credits and everything. You hear Magneto waking up, stumbling around. He's asking people what's gone off, what's happened. Nobody's answering. So he tries to stand up, and the noise that you'd hear for him to try and use his powers, something's not up. Something's not working out. Then all of a sudden, just hear this massive, similar to like a Darth Vader scream, this no! And you hopefully entail out that Magneto has no power. That is the end of Phase 4.
That is almost a like exact adaptation of House of M. That's actually really cool. Yeah, like that's pretty much like where I was expecting it to go, but it's also like a huge way to end Phase 4, because now I honestly have no idea where you're gonna go from here for Phase 5 and 6. But yeah, it's like probably the most accurate storyline that you could adapt. Like, I guess you did Secret Invasion, but for this one, it's like I'd say even more impactful than Secret Invasion, because Wanda's obviously changed a ton of things with mutants not being around anymore. So yeah, did a great job on that. It's a great way to end Phase 4, because now like you've put me in a spot where I'm like, yeah, I don't know where Phase 5 is going to go and what the rest of it's going to look like.
I wanted this one to have sort of similar big well, obviously I had both of these bad boys in my previous ones, and I wanted it to be on that sort of similar scale of Jesus wept, what the hell's going to happen sort of thing, and just like having it all lead up to this, let's just say, first part of my big wham bang thank you, ma'am, sort of moments I've got coming up. Having this be the first one, I just thought, yeah, what a way to end this phase and just go, well, you think that's bad? You ain't seen nothing yet, sort of thing. And I just love to see that moment in a film. Just seeing her just say them, like seeing her just so utterly enraged and have this almost ungodly amount of power, and seeing her say no more mutants. The effect that could have on films in general and the wider story. Oh boy, it just have a massive ripple effect out of that. So I love that story. And like I said, I'm always one for adapting as many comics as I can think of that I've read and just working them into a storyline like that. And that was one of them. Like I did with them two. That was one of them that I needed to get in there.
Yeah, like it's one that I was like, I'm gonna admit, I was actually toying with maybe adding to mine, but then I was I don't think for what I'm leading up to, it wouldn't fit very well. So I may set that aside for if we were to go even further. But that was a great way to end it. It's definitely like in the same way I guess mine did. It puts the world in a different spot. And I think that's what you need to do to kind of progress the story. Like, how do you go from the world at the beginning of Phase 4 to what it's like at the end of Phase 4? How do you branch off of that in Phase 5? So I'm very curious to see what this ends up leading to.
Yeah, it's just, I'm really, really proud of this. I'm proud of my Phase 4 and Phase 5. It's just, I'm halfway through 6 and trying to integrate. I know where the last film is. I know exactly where I want my end goal is. Yeah. But trying to manipulate and work out what's going where and how it's going to all lead in. That's what I'm trying to get to. So I'm proud of them. I'm glad that I've got into a sort of a state, and maybe I've got the viewers as well. Got into a state where like, well, where the hell is he going to go from here? Sort of thing.
That's exactly where I'm at.
Yeah. So what else can he bring forth and have? But I'm quite chuffed for that now. But I think when you hear, I think it's first 2 or 3 maybe of my Phase 5, you'll know where the end of Phase 5 is going to end, and then that just leads a whole another can of worms into Phase 6.
Very cool. I'm very excited to show you what I've got for Phase 5, because I think it will not be like a complete left turn from what I'm, leaning towards, because obviously you know who the villain is, and I haven't explicitly said who the villain is in terms of for everyone else knowing, but for like the approach I'm going for in Phase 5, the ending is like, okay, did not see that coming, that kind of thing. Well, maybe you would, but I'm very excited to show you mine. But that was a great Phase 4.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that, mate. And well, that is the end of this stream. Have you got anything coming up any time soon this week or anything?
I've got a video coming on Friday at the normal time I have at 10 a.m. Eastern time.
Oh, bless.
I kind of went back to... Oh, what do you got? Oh, Rez, thanks for joining.
Say hello, bless him. Thanks for joining that, mate. Hopefully it'll be up on the channel, so when you get a chance to watch it properly, it'll be up on the channel. So so on Friday I've got a video. I did a tier list of the Insomniac Spider-Man villain designs. That's a very specific topic, but I saw it on the website, because I was going through it. I was kind of like, I want to do more tier list videos and get that going. So I found that one and I was like, okay, that could be really interesting. So I did that. So that's coming on Friday, and then that's pretty much it. And then we've got our Phase 5 shared stream next week. So we're gonna do like we did for the other ones. We'll flip flop. At the halfway point, we'll flip. Hopefully it doesn't go on for too long, because you did 6 now and it's going just over an hour. So I guess we'll have to pick up the pace on it. So I'm like that. I like to tell a big guy, not scene for scene, but story wise, going like that sort of thing. But I'll behave. I'll try and ease it up a bit.
Yeah, well, I'll have to do that too. I've got my presentation ready, but I'll have to kind of go through that so we don't, make it super long and then drag it out. Which there's nothing wrong with that, but just with with schedules and stuff, it might not work out the best way. But yeah, what do you have coming out on your channel?
Well, tonight we have another one of the Marvel vs. Capcom Arcade Fighting Classic Collections. A mouthful and half of a title. This time we've done obviously the Punisher. We did Marvel vs. Capcom 3. This time was it? No, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So tonight's episode will be a run through of Marvel vs. Capcom 1, Clash of Heroes. Again, it's been a long time since I've played any of them originally. Like I only played the second one and third one properly, so I never really played the first one. So that'll be up on the channel tonight at the normal 7:30 time over in the UK. And then on Friday, we have another Marvel Mad review of the next episode of Agatha All Along, which I was enjoying up until last week. Last week's one really did put me at a bit of a cross path because I'm like, oh, don't tell me you're just going to go with that sort of ending and get that sort of character. I'm hoping not.
I did see that and pissed. I was like, really? Like, you did that thing?
Yeah, exactly. I'll be really annoyed if it's just going to that worst person. I'll say it now, I want Wanda. Wanda needs to be at the end of this series. But if they're going for Tommy, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah, they could, like, again, I dropped out at episode 3, I think. 2 or 3. So I haven't seen really like what's happened recently, but I've seen like the most important, like we've got. Oh, you like Agatha? Okay.
Yeah, thank you. It's great, but that last episode, it was a great like exposition of how like Billy comes to be and all that sort of thing. But the payoff is going to really piss me off. If he's just going after his brother, what's the point of all this then? You want to get the power and go for your mum. Surely, she's not dead. Go for your mum, and then you can both go and look for your brother. Not just
I was going to say something,
joking.
But
you better not be joking, Rez. You really had me then. I thought you was enjoying it with me then. New start out. I'll admit that Penguin is brilliant.
Yes. I'm glad you got into that because, like this past week's episode actually like puts it in a really interesting spot. So
yeah.
Are you like all caught up to as of this week, or are you still?
Yeah, it's only 4 episodes, isn't there?
There's 5 now.
Oh, I've not seen the 5th one now.
So the last one you saw was the Arkham Asylum one.
Yeah.
That one was incredible.
Yeah, I thought I'd been brilliant. That one was. I never heard of the Hangman or anything like that sort of thing. Like I messaged you privately to have a look at that comic series. So I'm going to try and have a look at that.
Yeah, definitely check out the Long Halloween, but also Dark Victory because Sophia Falcone is a big part of Dark Victory, but the events of Long Halloween impact that story. So, but yeah, Penguin's been really great. It's a shame that the Arkham Asylum show was canceled because they got Arkham perfectly with the grittiness, and it's so corrupt and it's so crazy, and they've even brought Magpie into it, which is a like D-tier not Spider-Man, Batman villain, but yeah, they brought them into it, and then obviously that didn't end well for her.
As well.
Yeah,
I'd never heard of that villain. I was really clever, just doing something like that. Again, there's another inspiration from one of the phases around that. I was like, just having these low-level like villains and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just pop them in. Nobody really knows about them or probably cares, but having them sort of D-level villains is like, well, they're here. They're going to show up. They're going to do some stuff and see what happens. Sort of it.
Yeah, I just see Kristen Miliotti's incredible as Sophia. Like she's. Yeah. I hope she gets like the Emmy nomination, but also an award because that's like a huge, hugely like praised, I guess, performance online, and like it's incredible.
Yeah, massively. But anyway, yes.
Yeah.
Well, it went there because we got a massive tangent then. That
DC
sort of thing.
detour.
Yeah. I say, I'll admit, when DC are good, they're good. A lot. Batman villain again, good a lot. Just saying.
Well, you'll have to see the next episode then.
Yeah. But anyway, yes. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Project Assemble, and we'll see you all next week for both our Phase 5s. See you in a bit, guys.
See ya.